All right, it's 2 minutes past 10 on my screen over here. I suggest we just start. Some more people will join us as we go. But first of all, thank you for being with us this morning on this joint webinar that we at StreetSmart organized together with our colleagues from the Khazana Foundation, and where we will launch our brand new design toolkit, the fundamentals of financial literacy. Now, maybe to start with, my name is Sander Degeling. I'm the partnership coordinator for StreetSmart, and I'm responsible for the development of our educational materials at StreetSmart, both our online and offline materials that we offer to our partner organizations. I will explain you a bit more about StreetSmart later on, but I'm super excited to have with us another speaker, Pauline Engelberts, co-founder of the Khazana Foundation and global COO of the ABN AMRO Clearing Bank. So a very warm welcome to you, Pauline, and thank you so much for joining us. Now, before we get started, maybe it's nice to get to know you as well. Of course, we will be with quite a group, but we will try to make it as interactive as possible. So, if you would be able to share your name or the organization you work with or the country you tune into from on this webinar, that would be really nice. Also, very important, if you have any questions for us during this webinar, please don't hesitate to share them with us in the chat. There will be some time as well to answer all of these questions after the webinar. So feel free to post them in the chat so that we can cover them after this webinar. Okay, cool. I think we're good to go. Maybe a little bit about the structure. What we deal with this morning, we will take a little bit of time to have a look at the great work of the Khazana Foundation. I will introduce you a bit more to StreetSmart, the work we do with youth workers worldwide. After this, of course, we will come to the main topic of this webinar, which is the introduction of the fundamentals of financial literacy toolkit that we designed recently. This will take about approximately 25 minutes. And then, as mentioned before, we will still have some time for questions from the audience. Meanwhile, don't wait till the end of the webinar. If you have any question, please don't forget it and post it immediately in the chat. My colleague Lise will then take care of it as well and list all the questions we can handle at the end of this webinar. But maybe to get started, I want to introduce you to the Khazana Foundation because the toolkit we developed on financial literacy was developed with two partners, StreetSmart on one hand, and then our friends of the Khazana Foundation on the other hand. But to learn a little bit more about the work of the Khazana Foundation, I hand over the word to our guest speaker today, to Pauline Engelbert. Pauline, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sander, and thank you for allowing us actually to join you on this webinar because we had a really good collaboration and I'm very proud of what we've come up with together. And also really nice to be able to introduce this to a number of social workers and people in the larger ecosystem. So, yes, thank you. So who are we and why are we doing this? So the Khazana Foundation was actually started by three female executives. We all work for a bank, and we've actually seen throughout the years that being financially independent is so important to be able to get the empowerment and make decisions of your own life. We also see that financial inclusion is very closely related to social inclusion. If you don't know how money works, if you don't know how to save, or if you don't know the basics around fundamentals, it's all sometimes inevitable that you will be socially excluded as well. So there's a back and forth between those two. So we started with an organization in Mumbai, which we'll talk about later, but we actually decided to set up our own NGO to contribute to financial literacy with youth. And regardless of religion, gender, race, politics, we're completely neutral on that way. But we think it's important to look at financial fundamentals because that is what you need to be able to become economically independent. So can we move on to the next one? Yeah. So what's the challenge? Well, basically, children are raised by the communities and by their parents, and I truly believe that the communities do the best that they can. But sometimes the information that that they need is not in the community either, and a lot of people, children, do not get involved in talking about money, whereas money is just, unfortunately, but it's a very important part of how we actually survive in the societies that we're in. So they don't talk about money, they don't hear about money, they don't understand how it's managed, and sometimes don't even know the rules and norms and standards that we have. So by focusing on finance, we actually hope that we can focus on improving education throughout the world, also improving gender equality. There are some societies where children or girls are actually excluded even more from conversations than others, and ultimately reduce inequalities around the world. So, what is our approach? We see it as a four level approach. First, engage in conversations about money, talk about money, understand that money is important. Let children know that sometimes there's scarcity of money. That's okay, but talk about money, understand where money comes from and where it goes, or engage about that. Understanding is also very important because do we know of the impact that finance has? How does money affect your relationships? How does money affect your friendships? What's good money? What's bad money? Um, why is it so important in our day to day? Is money important just for a short term or is it for a long term? So understand the impact money has in our lives, in the way we can continue for our future, but also in our day-to-day lives. Then we think it's important to actually learn about it. So how do credits work? If you understand that if you don't have money, you can borrow money, how does that work? Do you just go anywhere and get an exorbitant interest rate from someone? Or should you go to the banking system? What does the banking system actually require from you? How does savings work? Why is it important to make goals so you can learn about if I want something in the long term, then I have to save for something now for the long term. And I think in a lot of societies that are less privileged, it's hard to think in the long term because what you need now is what you're going to pay for now. But understand that if you have a financial practice where you can save, you can actually get yourself out of some problems in the longer term. And then apply. And we talk about financial inclusion, but that's actually on three pillars. Financial inclusion is being understanding financial literacy, but it's also having access to a banking account or access to savings or access to credits. This is really important. So be able to ensure that they have access to the financial system as well. Um, and all those four will help us manage ourselves better. So what have we done as Khazana? We've looked at different programs. As I said, the first program that we have is the one that we started with was the one in Mumbai. In Mumbai, we came across a program called the CDK program, Children's Development, Khazana. And as it was so close to our heart, we called ourselves the Khazana Foundation. It's quite unique because it actually it provided a separate savings account for the children. And it included the social skills as well. So not just how do you add and subtract and how do you save and not save, but also how do you negotiate? What are your rights? What are your responsibilities? And how should you conduct yourself? So there's a CDK program that we support in Mumbai, and we also have just started a new one in Nepal as well. The other solution that we have is when we came across the mobile school. So the mobile school is a formal education that we really admired. And we, together with them, we developed two boards, one which is a game board and another which is the fundamentals of finance. And that is on a number of pillars that we'll go into more detail later. And the beauty for us of the mobile school as well is its distribution, its ability to be able to reach a large number of people quicker than just having one program in one school. So it's more dynamic. Another solution, which is more on an advanced side, because we did realize that children that we deal with they grow older and they have other needs. And there are a lot of entrepreneurial wishes and skills. So we work with them on how do you set up a business plan? What are your entrepreneur? If you want to start a business, what should you look for? How should you cost your products? What is your competitive research around you? And we have it's usually a one-off payment. So there's a business plan competition. Sometimes they're arranged in different areas where we can give come to us. We're the jury and we give a one-off payment. And the second advanced solution is actually enabling us to support a scholar. And this could be a student that is studying or is at high school and has a special project that they need some money for, as long as it's with regard to financial inclusion and financial literacy. It can be sent to us. It's on our website, and then we will look at it and decide if we would give a one-off budget for that as well. So what's our ambition? And especially our ambition with which the mobile school is enabling us to do is to teach um, teach people that you can teach finance skills in a fun, interactive way. It doesn't have to be a boring subject. It's a really important subject. And you'll see in the games the board that we made, and also the game that we made, that we've based it on 5 very important parts of finance, which is earning, spending, saving, investing, and protecting your money as well. And our wish is to expand further throughout the mobile school to ensure that this is part of the basic package that we can send out or that's accessible via their platform. And to continue more and more tools to get feedback from you, to understand what is actually required in the communities and how can we help on that. And on the right, you'll see this is the impact from last year of the number of children, but that's the CDK program in Mumbai that we had as well. I think that's short. I don't know if there's any questions.
Thank you so much, Pauline, for the introduction on the Khazana Foundation. If there are already some questions at this point, feel free to post them in the chat as well on the work of the Khazana Foundation. If some questions pop up later on during the presentation, feel free to post them at any time. So once again, thank you, Pauline, for introducing the great work of the Khazana Foundation. Then maybe I'll take over to introduce a little bit Mobile School and what we do. As we told you earlier, this toolkit we developed on financial literacy is a joint collaboration between the Khazana Foundation and Mobile School. Maybe some of you already know Mobile School. I see maybe some familiar faces in the audience as well. So thank you very much for joining this morning. But maybe some of you don't know exactly what we do at Mobile School. So I will quickly run through the activities what we do in our organization. The organization Mobile School is a hybrid social enterprise, which means that we have a profitable company, which is called Streetwise. With Streetwise, we give a leadership and employee training to businesses, mostly in Belgium, but across Europe as well. We will not focus on this. If you're interested in this, my colleague Lies will post the website in the chat as well. But with StreetSmart, this is the social part of our organization. We develop innovative tools for youth workers. And maybe the most known tool is this one, what you see over here. This picture was taken in Bytom in Poland. And it's our mobile school. And basically what mobile school is a blackboard on wheels. You can pull into the streets to an environment where you meet a lot of street connected children or vulnerable children. You open it up, it opens up via a telescopic system. You see it over here, you have the middle board, but there are 2 other boards on each side that come out, that slide open, and it enables you as a youth worker to have 6 meters of educational space directly on the streets where you can use it with your target group. We started back in 2002. At this moment, there are already 68 mobile schools active in 37 countries. And on a yearly basis, we reach about 65,000 contacts with vulnerable children. Maybe important to know for all of you is that all these mobile schools are operated by local partners. So every organization around the world that works with vulnerable young people, they can approach us, they can apply to become a mobile school member, there's an application phase. There's a trajectory we go through to see if we can create joint impact. And then at the end, there a decision is made if a mobile school can be implemented in your city or in your country. You see the mobile school as well, like this blackboard, we call it our hardware. But you see already on this picture that we also have a lot of software. So take that into account because we're constantly developing new software, educational boards, and the boards we created together with the Khazana Foundation are now already part of this educational package we offer to all these local organizations. Here you can see quickly as well the world map where we are present. It all started in Latin America back in the 2000s, but very quickly it moved to Africa, moved to Asia as well. And maybe very important to know as well, I see in the audience there are a lot of people from the European continent as well. We also have 11 active mobile schools in Europe, countries like Greece, Romania, Poland, Spain. We had one in Germany, in Düsseldorf. So it's not something that is only developed for developing countries. No, it's also very near here in Europe. Even in city of Antwerp, here in Belgium, we also have a partnership with a local organization called City Pirates. So we're on 4 continents, well represented all over the world with our mobile school methodology. Maybe to give you a short insight in what the mobile school actually is and how we conduct these non-formal educational sessions directly on the streets, I have a short video with me which gives you a good view on what we do with our mobile schools. I'll play it right now. So as you saw in the video, we are not an alternative for formal education. I always want to stress this because of course, we talk about a mobile school, but the main objective of the mobile school is really to boost the self-esteem of vulnerable children and give them a safe space where they are unconditionally accepted and where they can develop their talents and their skills as well. That was our main focus. However, when COVID came as well, we realized that as an organization, our main objective is to make the work of youth workers around the globe more efficient. So that's why we also we had a couple of learnings, of course, from our activities with the mobile school, and that's why we came up with some digital tools as well. You can already see them over here, but I will quickly run through them in the next slide as well. So the work we do with the mobile school is called StreetSmart Wheels, which you can see here on the left-hand side of the screen. Another platform we created is StreetSmart Play, because very often we receive the question from partner organizations like, hey, I'm not really interested in using the mobile school, the Blackboard on wheels, because it might be too heavy or my local context doesn't allow me to work with this Blackboard. However, I'm really interested in using the educational materials. And because we very often receive this question, we build a platform, StreetSmart Play. StreetSmart Play is a free to use online website. It's a kind of a game database where you can access all the games we use at the mobile school. But there is more. We encourage there as well other organizations, other youth workers to share their activities on the platform as well. So if you are in need of game inspiration to conduct non-formal educational activities with your target group, you can just go to this website, There is a filter system as well. You can see it over here if you want to work on sports or health or language. Many different games on many different topics. Of course, we will see later on as well that there are now new boards on financial literacy. But if you are ever in need of game inspiration, you can find it over there. If you want to access StreetSmart Play, as mentioned, it's free, and we will post the link to this platform as well in the chat. So if you're interested, feel free to have a look at this platform and to try it out yourself as well. Maybe one more thing I want to stress about Street Smart Play is as well, you will find the fully downloadable PDF sizes as well on the website, which means that you as a youth worker, if you're interested in using one of these games, you can just download this for free, print it out yourself or at a local print shop and start using all these materials directly with your target group in a center, in a class, on the streets, depending your own working context, of course. This is Street Smart Play. Third product we offer to youth workers is Street Smart Impact. This is a case management application which allows you to track the impact that you have on your children. It's both an app on smartphone as a dashboard you can consult via the website. And via Street Smart Impact, it's very straightforward to just log your sessions and keep track of the participants and of the children you reach during these interventions. There are a lot of different functionalities there as well. One of the most useful is as well in the dashboard. Street Smart Impact creates automatically generated reports as well that you can then use to not only learn something more about your activities yourself, but also if you need to report to other stakeholders, to management, to your board, to donors or so, you can easily get all the statistics out of this platform as well. So this is also a tool we offer to youth work organizations around the world. You can see some screens here from the reporting. If you are interested in using this tool, feel free to contact us at any time. And then the third tool we developed is our most recent platform, let's say, is called StreetSmart Learn. And this is an online learning platform. With StreetSmart, we offer trainings as well to our partners, but other organizations, other youth workers are also interested in learning more about specific topics, specifically relevant to youth workers. And that's the reason why we developed what we call Street Smart Learn. So you will find a lot of programs and courses there on many different topics. You see them over there if you want to learn something about psychology, play-based learning, children's rights. Feel free to browse through the website of Street Smart Learn as well. Once again, and I really want to stress it as well, it's free to use. You just need to register once and then you have access to all the course content over there. And as you will see later on in the webinar as well, there's also some content now on financial literacy. So if you're a youth worker or a teacher and you want to learn something more about the basics of financial literacy, you can just consult our Street Smart Learn platform and there you can follow the courses. A nice extra maybe is that when you complete one of these courses or a program, you also get a course or a program certificate afterwards as well, which is always nice to have. This is in short what we do at StreetSmart and Mobile School. So far, we learned a bit more about Khazana. We learned a bit more about Mobile School and StreetSmart and what we do. If there are any questions in general about the work of both of our organizations, feel free to post all your questions in the chat. But the interesting thing, and that's why we also organized this webinar today, is we started conversations already a while ago to see if there was a project we could work on to generate more impact. Because as we have seen, there's a lot of knowledge on financial literacy and financial literacy education within the Khazana Foundation. Really a lot of expertise over there. And as you saw with StreetSmart, we have that expertise of creating educational games for a non-formal educational context. So when these conversations started, it was immediately clear that there was definitely a big interest and added value in a collaboration. And this all led to the fundamentals of financial literacy toolkit that we would like to present to you today. Now, maybe to start with is in the poll, we will ask you, in the Mentimeter, we will ask you quickly as a kind of an introduction to name 3 keywords that are, according to you, related to financial literacy. So Elise will post the Mentimeter link in the chat as well, and then you will see it over there. If all goes well, you can now fill in the Mentimeter. There's 1 minute to give your keywords as well. And then my colleague Lies will show the results in a minute. See, there's 15 seconds left to submit your responses. Five. There we go. Normally we can see your results as well. I'm just waiting for these. Can you show them?
Hi everyone. I thought I was showing them at this point, but apparently you cannot see it.
Let's maybe continue and check later on if we can still come back. At least if you have any news from the Mentimeter, feel free to pop in as well if needed. I hope my screen is still visible for everyone at this point. Great. Perfect. Why do we ask this question? Because we did the same when we had the first brainstorm as well with the team of the Khazana Foundation. Because of course, if you break down financial literacy, it's a very broad concept as well. And what we want to create with this, and that's maybe very essential information for all of you to know as well, we want to create like a basic toolkit, like to give youth workers a fundamental toolkit to start up a first discussion with children on the topic of financial literacy. And yeah, as we were brainstorming around the table, it was immediately clear we needed to break down the concept of financial literacy. And this gave us the idea as well from research and well, to build our toolkit on 5 fundamental pillars, like Pauline also mentioned earlier. And these 5 pillars are the following: earn, spend, save, invest, and protect. And these pillars are, in fact, the framework on which we build both our panels and also the learning programs we will show to you later on. Now, how does this work? Of course, then you have a conceptual basis to start designing these panels. But we work together with an illustrator, Gijs van Hee. If you ever run across this name, Gijs makes beautiful graffiti and wall paintings as well. Maybe some of you know him as well from his Instagram account. He's also our illustrator for the mobile school. And Gijs was together with us to start brainstorming then on, okay, we have the framework of the 5 pillars, but how are we going to make this visual then for youth workers and for vulnerable children? And here on this slide, you see one of the first drafts that were made of the panel. You see a city environment as well. You see the pillars at the bottom of the panel, and then you see all those small numbers in the circles. And these were, in fact, situations, because we wanted to give children a good starting point for a discussion with situations they are familiar with. So together with our team and with the Khazana Foundation, we sat around the table and we brainstormed about 70 situations that should be on this overview panel of our financial literacy toolkit. This still looks very abstract, but then if I show you the end result, this is the first panel we created. It's called the Money Matters poster as well. And here you see all the situations that were illustrated on the board as well. You see the city environment, and on this panel, you have about 70 situations that are related to money. You see at the bottom of the panel as well, the framework we talked about earlier, right? The 5 pillars of financial literacy: earn, spend, save, invest, protect. And this gives you as a youth worker as well a framework on how to start working with this panel. For example, you can present this panel to a group of youngsters, let's say, and you can ask them maybe at first, like, what's the general topic of this panel? They will have a look at it. Maybe they already have an indication, or they have an idea that this is about finance and money and financial literacy. Maybe if they don't, it's good as well to start looking more in detail about a certain situation. You see in the middle of the panel, for example, there's a child begging for money. There are children like paying for some things with their smartphones. There's a pickpocket here, there's an ATM. So once you dive more specifically into the situations, you will notice that all of this is related to money. Now, if you're a youth worker and you then need to do an activity with this panel, you can also focus on the 5 pillars here as well. You can ask, for example, children as well, can you identify what this icon means if you know that this panel is on financial literacy? So, okay, it's about earning money. Then you can ask, for example, your children or youngsters, can you find 2 situations on this panel, on this board, that are related with earning money? And then you check, for example, here is a man paying his workers as well. So the workers are earning money over here. Maybe also the child begging, can be anything. There are many possible solutions there, many possible situations that can be linked to the pillars. Of course, this is interesting. It's a little bit like searching the different situations. But the main objective of this panel is as well to then reflect on the context of the child as well, because you can add extra questions like, have you ever earned money in a similar situation? Or how do you earn your money? And is this a good way to earn money? Or is this maybe a bad way to earn money according to you? So you see, via the panel, it's very easy as well to start up a conversation, to initiate a debate with youngsters on their own situations. And the situations depicted here on the board are kind of an entry point to start up this discussion. It makes it way more easy because you already see a couple of situations over here. So this is the activity, the basic activity you can play with this panel. Of course, if you have covered the first pillar, you can move on. You can continue the activity with, for example, the spending or saving, investing, protecting your money. And you can ask similar questions as well. Can you look for some situations related to this? And then what do you do in your own personal life as well regarding these different pillars? This is the basic activity you will find as well on StreetSmart Play. There is, for example, another related activity you can do, and this is about basic budgeting, because you can also ask a child, and this is especially important with if children are already earning their own money or if they're running their small business. With mobile school, we very often see it on the streets that youngsters from a very young age, they are responsible as well to earning their own money. And then you can ask them as well for a basic budgeting exercise. For example, like, let's start with the first pillar, earning money. How much do you earn on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? The child will write down the prices and the earnings he has. And you can do this on the blackboard, for example, if it would work on mobile school. You can also just do it on a paper as well if you would print the panel yourself. And then you can continue. Like, okay, if these are your earnings, what are your spendings then? Okay, you do the same activity. You can base yourself on the board as well, get some inspiration from there, or find extra situations from your own personal life, write them down as well, and then see, is there still anything left in your budget? Yes or no? And maybe then you can focus on the other pillars. Is there still something left to save? Yes or no? Or what are you going to do if there's still something left? Maybe there's also something still left to invest it. Maybe this can generate more money in the end. So you see, you use the framework of the pillars as well to really guide this discussion. And then last but definitely not least, how can you protect your earnings as well? How can you protect your money? What are things you can do as an individual to make sure that your money is well protected, both in a street context, but also in a regular context, let's say, by putting your money in the bank, for example. So these five pillars can really trigger a very general discussion, but allows children and youth workers as well to think about all these different situations. This is the first poster. We have named this the Money Matters poster as well, which is of course available on StreetSmart Play. So it's one part of the toolkit. However, as a second part, because the Money Matters really focuses on initiating a debate, having a discussion, also getting to know a little bit more about the knowledge of the children already. But like Pauline mentioned earlier as well in her presentation about the work of the Khazana Foundation, we think it's also really important to try to apply these skills as well. And that's why we developed, next to the Money Matters poster, a game board as well. What you can see here doesn't look too good. I'm totally aware of it, but it's one of the first drafts we made. Of course, when you design a game like this, it's a little bit of trial and error. And together with the team of Khazana, we had a lot of fun and a lot of discussions as well on on how to create an accessible yet effective game board to practice some of these skills. So this is the first draft. Luckily, then after a lot of playing, we came up with this. It's a Payday Pioneers board game, which you can see over here, which you can then play on top of the Money Matters poster as well, or separately, depending on your target group and the youngsters you work with. I don't have the time to go really in detail on all of this. However, the main concept here is as well that you see the five pillars on this board as well. You can see at the bottom of the panel as well, with the same colors as in the Money Matters poster, you can see that there will be squares where you will earn some money. There will be square, for example, over here, you get some pocket money, or a child is selling flowers. This here you can earn money. You will also have the yellow squares where you will spend money. There are saving squares as well. And the good thing is you can see the piggy bank here on the right hand side. During the game, the players are always encouraged to save money as well, which will give them some interest at the end of the game. So there as well, children and players really need to think like, okay, can I put some money aside? And maybe I can gain then some more money at the end. However, don't forget that you still need to pay for your expenses along the board game as well. There are squares on Invest as well, where you can buy and sell some goods and maybe resell them later with a profit or with a loss, depending on your luck during the game. And there's also an element of protection as well, where you can choose to buy insurance or not. If you bought insurance, you're well protected against bad luck you might encounter during the game. However, you can take a risk as well, like some people do in real life as well. But then you might have bad luck during the game and lose half of your money if you end on some of these protection squares as well. While developing the game, one of our objectives was as well to create a basic version that's a collaborative game. So you can play it ideally with 4 players. But if you would go on StreetSmart Play, and there is also a written manual, but also a video manual, which explains you in detail all the rules of the game. But if you would go over there, you will find everything, and the basic version there is also a collaborative game. Why did we do this? Because it's as well, if you play a game, especially with vulnerable children, about money and it's too competitive, it might be a big risk as well. So that's why we created a collaborative game where children really need to cooperate in order to gain as much money as possible at the end of the month. However, if you would go to StreetSmart Play, you will also notice there is a possibility to have a competition. I would just recommend be careful, and you know your target groups best, so you know best with which target groups you better play a competitive game or the collaborative version as well. And then here on top, you can see it as well. You can put some bottle caps over here as well to keep track of where you are in the game as well. So throughout the game, you run through 1 month, and like in real life, you will be confronted with earnings, spendings, saving, investment options, and protecting money. If you have more questions on the game or feedback, if you want to try it out, you can go to StreetSmart Play. And if you've tried it out, feel free to send us your feedback or send us some extra questions as well, because we would love to hear from you as well, how you perceive this board game. So Payday Pioneers is a second game we created together with Khazana Foundation. So together, both combined, they form the fundamentals of financial literacy toolkit, and offers you as a youth worker a basic understanding and some basic methodologies to cover this topic with your children as well. Maybe looking at the chat, seeing if everything is clear over there as well. Maybe we'll take some more time for questions later on as well. So we had a first part of our toolkit, which really focuses on the educational posters, like we have seen, Money Matters and Payday Pioneers. However, we think it's important as well to, together with Khazana Foundation, as well create like a training program where youth workers can learn a bit more about the basics of financial literacy as well. And maybe to give you a little bit of a feel, because on StreetSmart Learn, we try to make learning as interactive as possible, as fun as possible as well. We have a short quiz for all of you to see if you're still awake and to see if you're still with us, with some questions as well that we will launch right now. These can also be found in the training program. So there we also use a lot of quizzes and interactive elements to make learning as fun but efficient as possible. I give you 2 minutes to run through these questions, 3 short questions on financial literacy. Results are coming in. Very good. And 1 more minute. Still see some answers coming in. For the first one, 81 versus 19%. That's the most clear. The other questions are 50-50, 63-38. Cool. Maybe 30 seconds for the last participants to still submit their answers. 10 seconds to go. 3, 2, 1. Okay, cool. Thank you very much for sharing your answers as well in this short quiz. I will quickly give you the answers as well. The first one, we had 82% who said this is true, around 3.5 billion adults globally, most of them in developing economies, lack an understanding of basic financial concepts. Indeed, this answer is true. Indeed. Then maybe move on to the second. By the way, if you want to know more about these data, feel free to access the learning course on StreetSmart Learn. There you can find all references as well on these questions, and you will find many more of these of these facts and figures as well. The second question, maybe quickly, was indeed false. It's 35% of men actually compared with 30% of women worldwide. And then the third question was indeed also false because we switched around the numbers. In fact, 18% shows a high level of financial literacy and 64% shows a medium level. this just as a kind of energizer. If you want to have more of this, feel free to access the online learning course. Now, the online training program on financial literacy, and maybe I will quickly share it with you as well because it might be a bit clearer. Here I have access. If all goes well, you can see my screen now on StreetSmart Learn. You will find the tab of financial literacy over here. You can follow a full program. This means it consists of the 3 courses there as well. Or you can follow the specific courses, which take about 20-25 minutes each to follow. I will click right now here, and just to give you an idea of how it looks like, you can see you can then view this course as well. And StreetSmart Learn is in fact built on the OpenEdX. So if we go into one of the courses, you will see you have different chapters, units, let's say, and they will all have or contain different interactive elements as well. So you see we use quizzes, we use brainstorms, we use discussion forums, we use video, we use interactive slideshows as well. So just we try to keep learning as fun as possible as well. So just if you're interested in this topic, feel free to go to StreetSmart Learn and to access one of these courses. Once again, I want to stress as well, if you still have any feedback or questions about this course, you can always contact us. We will share our email addresses as well at the end of this webinar. So the first course we created is what is financial literacy for youth? The second we created is financial literacy, and then of course the role of youth work. Why is it so important to cover this topic with youth? And then the third one is a good practice on the work of the Khazana Foundation. And maybe, Pauline, I still want to ask you if you could give like a little bit of a little more information on what learners can expect in this third course developed by the Khazana Foundation.
Yes, of course, Sander. Thank you. So the good practice, we want to show through a little story what happens to the development of a child when they go through our different engage, understand, learn, and apply concepts. And it's a little story, and it's supported as well by an interview with the social worker at the Hamara Foundation. But it's a little story about Anna and how Anna starts engaging in conversation, what she sees around her, how she starts understanding it, learning about it, and then eventually applying it, and the impact that it has in her community and with her family as well. So it's just a fun little story, but it shows you the good practice and how it really works in real life.
Thank you very much, Pauline, for sharing this. And I would definitely highly recommend this third course as well, because of course in these StreetSmart Learn programs, of course, we always want to cover a little bit of theory, but we really find it very important as well to link this theory to actual field work as well, and to good practices from organizations who are actually covering this topic with their target groups. So that's why it's a great added value that we had all this expertise from the Khazana Foundation in, and as well that they focus a bit more on their work and share the story of this girl, of Anna Khazana, in the good practice course as well. So definitely highly recommended. Now, so these are the different parts of the toolkit: educational posters and the training program. Now, probably you will also ask yourself the question, like, where can we find all these materials? There's a specific landing page on our website, on our StreetSmart webpage, on the fundamentals of financial literacy. From there, you will be linked to, on the one hand, our StreetSmart Play platform for the educational posters, and on the other hand, to the StreetSmart Learn website for the training program that was developed there. Lise will also share it, and it will look a bit like this. It's our general toolkit page. You will see the financial literacy toolkit is on top there right now, but if you're interested in other toolkits we created in the past, feel free to browse a bit through our offer on our website over there. So this is, in short, the introduction of the toolkit, what we wanted to share with you. Of course, we can't go into detail about the details of the game board, but we hope it triggers you already a little bit as a youth worker to explore these materials and to have a look at them, because research really showed that it's a crucial topic as well, and it's the first feedback we get from most of our partners as well, that it's really, really important to work on this topic with young people. So thanks again, Pauline. Maybe I turn to the audience right now and I'll have a look at the chat if there were any specific questions that came in during our presentation that we should still answer before we leave you. I see here one question from Judith. And the question is, when you created the poster, as well as the game, which age or target group you have in mind? Pauline, is this something you want to answer about the target groups?
Yeah, so our focus is on youth and on the street. So initially our target group is between 8 and 12, 8 and 13. However, what we've noticed with also when being on the streets of Mumbai, when you start talking about these discussions, people from older children start joining, family starts joining. So the target group is not necessarily age related, it's more knowledge related. So coming in and getting the basics, you never know what basics somebody's missing or somebody's interested in. But it starts off just like with the mobile school and with the wheels in general. It's the youth is the initial target group, but it's not limited to youth.
Yeah, I can only agree to that. We did already a couple of testings as well, and some partners have used the materials already. And we see, for example, the overview poster. It can be played with very young children. Of course, you will need to adapt your activity a bit, but you can also play it with youngsters, even 18 plus. And recently we did testing as well with the game board with one of our project partners in Ethiopia. And there we saw it was with a group of youngsters from 18 to 25, and they really, really enjoyed the Payday Pioneers board game. So once again, there, yeah, it's of course you have a key target group there, but it's definitely knowledge related, and we see that really a wide variety of target groups can get something out of these materials. Just have a look at other questions. I don't see any others for now. Wait, let me check over there. I see here from Mali Hamza, we get some questions as well, some practical questions. Of course, the recording, it can definitely be shared. It will be found online as well for those of you who missed part of the webinar. The names of the organizations, it's the Khazana Foundation and Mobile School StreetSmart. And all the board games are available on the website. After this webinar, we will still provide you with all the necessary information via wrap-up email as well, where you can still browse through all the different links. So, okay, I think there are no other questions, at least unless I missed something in the chat during the presentation.
No, there are no other questions.
Super. If you still want to evaluate this webinar as well, and if you want to share your feedback on these kinds of webinars with us, that would be highly appreciated. You can just scan the QR code that you will see on your screen right now, or Lise will still send you a link as well. We are trying to constantly improve our offer to youth workers as well. So we really value your feedback on this as well. So feel free to fill in the short evaluation. I think it only takes 2 minutes of your time as well. I see here as well, there's one more question about another webinar, which you might have noticed on our social media, but this will be indeed in Spanish. It will be conducted by my colleague, Jeanette, and is more aimed towards the network that we have in Spain and Latin America. So if you know about Spanish-speaking partner organizations or youth workers that might be interested in this topic, they can still register for this webinar, which will take place on next Friday, February 9th. Okay, Cool. If there are no additional questions, we won't take more of your time. We're 5 minutes before 11. Pauline, I still want to thank you very much, first of all, for the super nice collaboration we
Mm.
had with you and your team members. And second of all, for being present over here and for introducing the Khazana Foundation and the toolkit to all our participants.
And likewise, I think the collaboration has been good, and I hope we can continue. And thank you for making this possible.
Thank you so much. If you want more info, if you're eager to connect with one of our organizations, feel free to contact us. You see the email addresses there for StreetSmart, for the Khazana Foundation. And once again, I can't stress this enough. If you have tried out the materials and if you still have feedback on this, feel free to contact us at any time. We love to hear from you. And thanks for being part of this webinar this morning. We really appreciate your participation as well. Just thank you very much once again. Have a wonderful morning or afternoon from wherever you tune in, and we hope to see you again very, very soon in one of our other Street Smart webinars. Thank you, Pauline. Thank you, everyone. See you very soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.